E te iwi, e te whānau tēnā koutou. It's Kiri here, coming to you from the Sunshine Coast in Queensland, and this is video number 2 on manaakitanga. So I'm talking to you today about the ideas and the whakaaro that have been shared by our own people when my sister Christy and I undertook some research with our iwi Ātiawa ki Whakarongotai during 2019. The research project was funded by the Health Research Council of New Zealand, and it allowed us to explore notions of manaakitanga, what it means to us, how we express it, and the links to hauora, our well-being, and whether it's enhanced through our active expressions of manaaki. So in the first video, I talked about our collective manaakitanga that we express on the marae, and I shared some stories about our cookhouse and our old people that have passed, and the traditions of passing down knowledge to the next generation. I discussed the importance of understanding the different roles on the marae and slotting into that mahi, and how important we are as the resource for a hui to go well. Last week I spoke about Professor Whatarangi Winiata's definition on manaakitanga, about uplifting the mana of others through our expressions. And in the study we undertook, we actually asked each of our interview participants what manaakitanga means to them. And obviously there's no wrong answer to that pātai, but here's what one of our younger generation had to say. He said, it's just like looking after people. It's like picking up the mana of other people. It's basically enriching for you and for them. And I suppose it shows that how you think about other people, how you're a respectful person. You shouldn't try and bring them down or diminish them. It's the other way around. You should be uplifting your manuhiri. So that's what I think it is. It's about caring for them. One of that is food, giving them good food, making them feel comfortable, but obviously other things too, like people come round, then you give them a place to stay, you give them rides, all that kind of stuff. Yeah, just being respectful. So today I want to build on that kaupapa a bit more and discuss the notion of manaaki ki te tangata, sharing of resources, and particularly kai amongst our people. So if we start by looking back into the stories of our parents and our grandparents, we hear about specific times in our calendar in the maramataka when particular kai sources were plentiful. And as many of you know, those whānau who lived around Waikanai back in the day, they had the fortune of having the awa, our Waikanai River, and the moana, the beach and the ocean, as well as the bush. They had all of those resources at hand, and these areas were clean and safe, and they were pretty much the supermarkets of our people. There were market gardens locally. Some were run by our own people, like my grandfather, Koro Jumbo, who grew vegetables for the markets in Wellington. And many of our whānau had marakai, veggie gardens. So our people really did live off the land. So back to the kōrero about kai being plentiful. Well, there's some really neat stories about our people receiving a call from our neighbouring iwi at the Hokio stream in Levin to indicate that the tunahiki, or the eel run as it was known, was taking place. And for our people who were invited to head north and to share in this abundance. So much excitement followed, with men, women and children all taking part in these activities, from the catching of the tuna to the placement of them into the sacks, and returning to Waikanai for the cleaning and the preparations for drying and cooking and eating. And we've heard some really neat stories over the years about sharing of kai across our neighbouring iwi rohi. And sometimes the abundance of kai was located right on the rohi boundaries. So there was agreement amongst the iwi to share that kai source. And throughout the year, our people who had the skills to catch kai moana or collect the pipi, they were the ones who would often share in that abundance amongst whānau. And there are modern day stories too of that same thing. Although, if we're lucky enough to receive a little care package of whitebait or flounder or pipi or even watercress, you pretty much know that someone loves you a lot, because we don't seem to have the time nowadays to get out our boat or put petrol in it. untangle the fishing nets, or even dig for pipi. But if we do, our people tell us that it's all part of maintaining hauora and looking after our health, enjoying the environment, and also taking our mokopuna with us so that we're able to pass on knowledge from one generation to the other. One of our large whānau who mostly live in the rohe said that, well, my whānau are really big on kai, and uncle, well, last night he just done a massive boil up and passed it all around our whānau to all our aunties and uncles, and then me. And last week Dad went for a dive on Tuesday, so he gave out a whole lot of power to the aunties and the uncles. So it's pretty random really, but we just do see them all the time and do that. We pop into each other's houses, we always manaaki when whānau or manuhiri call in. Our whanaunga went on to say that manaakitanga isn't something just for the marae, it's a lifestyle thing, like we express it through work and pretty much everything that we do. So whānau, over the last few weeks we've seen many expressions of modern day manaakitanga, as whānau, hapu and iwi from around the mutu have dug deep and supported and awhi for each other. I mentioned last time about the kai packages that have been distributed by iwi to kaumātua around Kapiti. Well, this mahi has continued with additional goodies and essential items being delivered. Last year our iwi worked with 23 neighbouring iwi to establish a deep sea pātaka, the pātaka moana. And this is a win-win situation for our iwi and others, for the fisheries company and for the environment, as the pātaka gets filled with the bycatch when they're actually fishing another particular species. So in short, what that means for our iwi is that we can support whānau at the time of tangihanga with kaimoana packages, and just last week the group has provided kaimoana for the cooking of Meals on Wheels for kaumātua in our wider rohe. So I'd really like to mihi to all of our whānau and our iwi members who provide leadership in the areas that I've mentioned today, and all of us, and also to all of us who are continuing to reach out and support each other and express manaaki at this time. Next video I'm going to move into some ideas that our people have discussed around skill sharing and reaching out and supporting each other in different ways. So I look forward to having a kōrero with you then. Until then, whānau, take care. Nō reira, kei te mihi aroha ki a koutou. Kia ora.